You see, something is going to happen. Something wonderful.
My God, it's full of stars.
Hey everyone, welcome to the NY Patriot Show. Thank you very much for hitting that play button. If this is the first time you have come across this show, thank you very much for checking it out. I do think you will enjoy this and get something out of this. And I also highly suggest to check my other content, the stuff that I have put out myself. And I have an amazing amount of episodes and stuff to check out with guests that have done some great work. So I highly suggest to check out my other stuff. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that sub button. If you are a returning listener, that is what's up. You already know. Thank you very much for coming back and checking out the show. And if you enjoy this, just pass it on, please. Share it, share it, share it. As you can see from the video description, obviously this is not Twin Peaks. I know I have been trying to put out Twin Peaks every other week, but this week obviously I'm not. And the next one may not be as well. Not sure yet. But yeah, I kind of not so much needed a break from the Twin Peaks stuff. It's just I need time to actually watch a lot of it and find stuff to cover. So it can be kind of time consuming to not really have much to show. You know, I could watch a whole episode and spend an hour and be like, eh. So yeah, I just needed some more time, really. But in between then, I will be covering other shows in itself. And the first one that I'm showing now, and I honestly, I can't remember what made me think about it. There was a reason why I ended up coming across this show. Well, coming across the idea of doing this one. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something that I think that brought me to Jack the Ripper and then made me think of the movie From Hell. And I was like, oh, you know, let me put that on. And I had vaguely remembered that, you know, the movie did point to Freemasonry. And I, you know, remembered that, and I was like, let me check this movie out. And, you know, it was kind of like something, and this was one of the reasons why I wanted to cover it too. It's kind of like one of those things for me that I can go look at something that I watched a long time ago, either when I was a child or a little bit younger, and be like, wow, like they're actually saying stuff and showing stuff in that, and I had no idea and didn't pick it up, either because of the age or just not open to that stuff. And this is like kind of one of those movies for me in itself. When I first saw it, I think it was when it came out. I may have even seen this in the movies, believe it or not. I'll admit that. And, you know, I do vaguely remember Masons being played in it, you know, being mentioned in it and showed, but not thinking anything of it at all. And now I could go back and look at it and be like, And I guess just in case you have never seen this movie before, spoiler alert, maybe I should have said it already, but if you watch this, you will see parts of the movie, and I will be going over stuff. So in case you haven't seen it, just to let you know right now, yeah, it's a spoiler alert. You'll end up knowing what's going on in the movie. And just like mentioning the Masons. But this movie does point to that a lot. It assumes, and this isn't for me, this is the movie itself, it's showing that Jack the Ripper was a Mason. It's showing that doctors were Masons back then. It's showing a lot of stuff with Masonry. And not that I'm saying that this movie is correct, that Jack the Ripper was a Mason. I think there's a very good argument for that. Then again, that is just my theory. And like I want to add, like I do a lot of other times, all of this is commentary or based on how the movie's showing it with Jack the Ripper and Masonry or being a Mason. Does not mean that that is correct. Just because the movie depicted it like that, maybe it was just a story. There's no truth to it. And maybe I'm wrong. But I do think this movie, to me, does, makes it quite obvious that they're saying that Jack the Ripper was a Mason who pretty much lost his mind and started doing some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, he was also asked to handle this situation. But, it just does make you wonder, like, like in some movies, they do kind of sometimes tell you the truth, maybe sometimes predictive programming. So I don't know. I just find it interesting. I thought it would fit my channel, fit the topics that I cover. And I do also think, regardless of, I guess, the storyline kind of point, the storyline saying that Jack the Ripper was a Mason, I do think besides that, in this movie, just in my opinion, I think there's occult symbolism anyway. So, as I watched it, I took some screenshots, noticed some stuff besides the whole Mason thing, and figured maybe I would just cover this. Maybe people have seen this movie and forgot, like me, that there was a lot of Masonry in here. Maybe people have seen the movie and just didn't click. So, yeah, I'm going to be covering that, obviously. So I guess let's get into it. And just to kind of give, I guess, a very basic rundown of the storyline is that the prince at the time knocks up and marries a prostitute, a hooker, who I think was like basically one of the girls that worked under Mary Kelly. It's kind of like the main redheaded prostitute in the show or the movie. Yeah. So this guy is a prince. He ends up marrying and knocking up one of these prostitutes. And I don't know if he's a Freemason or not. I could have forgotten. I could show him in the show as being a Freemason. For all I know, I could be saying this 10 minutes from now. I can't remember as of right now if he was a Freemason. But the queen does ask Jack the Ripper, who's a Freemason, to handle the problem. And the problem is that this girl married the prince, got knocked up, and her prostitute friends were at the wedding as witnesses, who coincidentally start being the prostitutes that start dying. So, the storyline, prince knocked up a hooker, got married. The queen wanted something to be done with it. For how the movie shows it, I don't think she really specified to this extent, but what she didn't know, I don't think she cared about. And I guess the guy kind of got out of hand, and it's, started getting around. You start killing enough people, it's going to make the news, and it's going to worry people in the town. So maybe it got a little bit more notoriety than they would have liked. But that's basically how the story kind of goes, in my opinion. Jack the Ripper was killing people, so nobody knew that the prince had knocked up a prostitute, and the queen wanted it taken care of. All right, I guess we'll just get going. Here we have, it's pretty much right in the beginning of the movie, not too far into it. It starts off them going into the town, and then you come up to, this is Mary Kelly. She is like the main chick, the main, the main hooker. And she's talking to, or another one is whispering into her ear, one of the girls that works with her. I just think it's funny how the hooker was already the main chick, red hair. I mean, scarlet whore already. The girl that's talking to her, wearing all black, she has a green band around her arm. And in the movie, if you look, you will notice I think it's like a purple headband. So what I see here is the red hair, scarlet whore, the blue dress, possibly now Chesed and Gabora, because Chesed is the red, Gabora is the red sphere on the left side of the tree, kind of, the scarlet whore is. And then on the right side of the tree, directly across from that, you do have the blue sphere on the right pillar. So I think we're seeing the red and the blue around that area. And then on the left pillar, you have black, which goes with Saturn, which would go with Binah, which also has associations, Saturn, with Netzach, which is the green sphere, which is why she has the green thing on her arm, in my opinion. Could be. And purple does also go with Saturn, which would go with the third sphere of Binah on the Tree of Life, which could possibly be why she has the purple thing in her hair. That's what I'm getting at. If I want to look at this in a Kabbalistic sense, that's what I am seeing. And all right, then we move on.
Yeah.
Marion.
What you want?
Shut your old bitch.
I know you. You're Judy from Nickel Street.
Do you remember me, Mary Kelly?
I'd never forget you, McQueen.
Here we see Mary with two men. As you can see right here, one of them has a scar over one of his eyes. And as you were looking, and the other one, when you see him, he's got a hat on, and that's covering his other eye. In my opinion, this is Janus symbolism right here again. I know I've been kind of getting on that a lot, and I've even had Jonah on my show for Janus symbolism, but I really do think you are seeing that in a sense. Even the fact of like the whole thing with the one eye, that's kind of an occult symbol in itself, but like now, when you look at Janus, it could be seen as like maybe two different people, just only one side of their face that you're seeing or whatever. You're seeing the same thing here. You're only seeing one side, one eye on each person. So I do think this could be Janus symbolism. And there is even a part where he does pull out a blade. You see that right here. I had gotten into this, and I wish I kind of would have pressed it a little bit more when I covered the Beast of Horror, when I covered Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. There was a lot of Janus symbolism that I think with both of those, for sure. There was a lot in Nightmare on Elm Street. There was some in, unfortunately, Halloween that I meant to go back to after I touched on Nightmare on Elm Street, but oh well. The blade, the cross, a straight line, a lot of that stuff does show up for symbolism for Janus. Even the whole thing, the whole experience coming face to face with God. Seeing a reflection or seeing something. It's like looking into a mirror in a sense. You get reflection with the knife. You see it in the movie, light reflecting off the knife. And I mean, that's even times where one of the prostitutes goes to run away because she sees the reflection. Blades are a lot of times used and shown as reflecting something. So this, maybe it's a stretch, but for me, we're seeing the Scarlet Whore. We're seeing two things, both with an eye thing going on. Seeing a straight blade, light reflecting off of it. I do think in a sense that we are seeing possibly a Janus influence. Now this ends up being the Ripper's driver. This is the guy that drives the Ripper around every time he goes to pick up his next victim. Again, another guy with a blade. But then again, I guess that was a common weapon back then. But right there, right off the bat, right in your face, the guy's got a Freemason ring on. So this guy who's a Freemason is already telling this dude what's up and what's he going to be doing. That right there, that was the archway, as you can see here. That's one of the prostitutes walking by. She's getting pulled in by Jack the Ripper. I do find it interesting how it was done in a doorway or an archway. Could we be kind of seeing the two pillars right there? And then, it goes up to the top, and you have this thing up here pretty much kind of like, I guess maybe like the keystone in the archway. But I just found it interesting how she gets pulled into an archway. Again, Janus can be symbolized with archways. Did we see her get pulled in? Get killed by Janus in a sense. But regardless, Jack the Ripper pulled her in between that archway, and she got it. So, to me, that's more Janus symbolism there again.
Although I would happily wallop you every time you chase the dragon.
Well, I had a sneaking suspicion you might interrupt.
You've seen something. What did you see? They used to burn men like you alive.
Now, in case you haven't seen the movie or you don't remember, Johnny Depp, he sees visions. He gets high, makes these concoctions, and then he goes into he has these visions. To me, it's very much like maybe out-of-body experiences, astral projecting, magic in a sense, seeing into the future. But I just thought that clip was interesting to add. One, chasing the dragon. I understand that is a phrase used for when people smoke opium. Which he does in this show, besides absinthe and laudanum. However you say that. But, chasing the dragon, to me, I also think it may be used in here in multiple ways. I do think it could maybe even point to, like, the beast, the dragon, fire. You get green. Could it be like, male Saturn energy? I'm just, adding this in. Chasing the dragon. The guy sees visions. To me, the soul could be stuff that could have deeper ideas, deeper symbolism, occult stuff. But it could just be, it could be not. I found this interesting, and I wanted to add it. We have Cleopatra's Needle. We're seeing Cleopatra's Needle, phallic energy, it's male energy, expansive, like I've mentioned before, and I'll repeat it again. Flowers, especially ones low to the ground, that's feminine energy, very colorful, very low, so pretty to look at, captivating, smells nice. And then male phallic energy would be like, a gigantic sycamore tree or evergreen tree, sticking straight up into, the air. Projective, going up, abundance of height. It's all very male phallic stuff. That can go back to Janus, a straight line, a line that goes with Janus. So I'm questioning again, since after this we go into another murder, are they showing you the male energy again? And then here you go. The next prostitute is inside his carriage. He gives her a drink of something, I think, mixed with laudanum, and gives them some grapes, because grapes are very expensive. So they kind of put their guard down and assume this person is loaded, and they're probably, really looking to acquire sex and not kill the person, because they're already spending money on them, giving them grapes, and they're just loaded and paying to have sex. So they have the grapes, they have the drink, and then he takes her. Now, at this point, Johnny Depp is going back to his boss to explain to him about all these killings and kind of get into the idea that this may not be just some random killing, and the person doing the killings might actually have an idea of, like, how, the body is, and could be a doctor. It may not be a butcher or, just some random person. This might be somebody who has working knowledge of the human body. And as you can see, his boss has the Freemason ring on as well, right there. And he's holding up a Buffalo Bill, Wild West. And I think he's even saying there, can't we just, find somebody to pin this on? And here, if the ring wasn't good enough for you, he is wearing a Freemason symbol on his, I don't know, whatever the hell you call that thing. It's not like a tie, but whatever. He's got it right there on his chest. So it's obvious that his boss is probably a Freemason. Well, you'll see later on, he definitely is. He's got the ring. He's got that on his chest. I even do think sometimes these things, I've even pointed these out in the Ninth Gate that I did with Sean McCann. If you have not seen that, if you're fairly new to this channel, unfortunately, it's not on here. It's not on this YouTube. I will get strikes. There's no way I can do it. I lost my first channel because of that series. Go check it out on BitChute, or if you don't mind listening to it, listen on my old podcast. It's probably well over a year old at this point. The Ninth Gate, I did that with Sean McCann. We probably spent about 5 hours. It's a 3-part series. Highly suggest to check that out. Amazing work. And even check out Sean McCann's Butterfly stuff with Stanley Kubrick. Amazing. I've come across these a lot. Now, again, it could just be stuff that people use in movies. Kubrick, I've noticed, uses it a lot too. But again, with Kubrick, I do think sometimes it is kind of like occult symbolism. And, with this thing here on his desk, it's almost like family crests and shields and all that stuff. I do think some of those are designed with deep-rooted occult symbolism and ideas and archetypes. So I don't know if that has anything to do with his Freemasonry attire, or if it's just a regular, thing thrown on the desk for the movie. But I did want to add that. And now here we got Depp. He's about to partake in some absinthe, And then he does add some laudanum to that. He adds some fire. I did find that a little interesting. Again, it could just be coincidence. But I know before in the past I have mentioned over and over again the whole red and the green thing. Mars, the chaos destruction, Netzach, the green sphere that's directly across from. Even when you make talismans, if you're going to make talismans like, the planetary or stuff with the Kabbalah, if you're doing a talisman for Netzach, which the normal, the main color will be green, the flashing color that's suggested would be red. And it does go across the tree of life and connect to the red sphere, Gabora and Mars. So it shows you that there is an influence from that. There is something connecting those two. And just like Gabora, you would make that in red, but the flashing color, the other color that you're supposed to add to it would be green, because it's showing you there is an association with those two. And Netzach does also have a connection to Saturn. So, is this showing you the red absinthe? The red laudanum and the green absinthe. And then, he adds a blue flame to it and then gets high. You can see here the blue flame. So, is that all just, whatever? Just it happened to be that way, or is it showing like those spheres? Is it showing the movement up the tree? And then he goes into having these hallucinations. He goes somewhere else. And when he has some of those hallucinations, you see this. It's not ones and zeros, but it definitely reminds me of Matrix-style stuff. And I don't include it, but I think in this thing, when he has this vision, he is in a bed wearing all white with a female with, if I remember correctly, blonde hair, wearing all white, talking about them having a child together. It's just very weird. I even thought that might even have been some occult symbolism, but it is what it is. I didn't include it, but I just want to throw that in there. But like, it's just, I did find it interesting how he goes and gets high, and then it does go into this type of black, green, Matrix style code stuff, and then he has these visions. So I just tossed that in there, mentioned it. And then here we have Jack the Ripper. He, like I mentioned before, he gets his concoction, takes his laudanum, adds it to some alcohol, brings his grapes, gives it to the prostitute. He's there making his concoction, and as you can see, he has a Freemason ring on as well, again. This is inside his room. I see a few things already. Archways, pillars, seashells, or possibly, the all-seeing eye, sun rays, all sorts of stuff going on in here. Even, and I want to mention even real quick, there is a few times you'll see this type of like, I forgot the name to this thing. This music player, I don't know if it's playing the record or whatever. This type of like horn style to have a speaker. You'll see this a few times. And, this is just my crazy conspiracy theory, occult mind, how it works in symbols and things that I've seen. I've wondered, is there a connection to this, to like the horns in Revelations, the horns that you see in tarot? Is that in a sense male projective energy? It is sound that is coming out of something and just being shot out, spread out, until it dissipates, I guess. But it is something being released out of something else. That's kind of male projective energy in a sense to me. So when they showing these things, sometimes you see killing. So is that showing, male expansive energy? Again, that would go back to Chokmah type stuff. Is that again going to Janus, or the beast type energy? I could be wrong, but I do question that with these, when you see these things in the movie, in this movie. And here, just another better kind of picture for the archway. Even in the middle at the top, you have kind of like, I guess maybe that's like the keystone to the Masons' archway. I mean, I think it's obvious I mean, the guy's got a Masonic ring on anyway. Is it too hard or too much of a grasp to say that maybe this is Masonic symbolism too? Again, before in the other picture, there was like things that looked like we'll see eyes, possible seashell, eyes and rays of the sun. This is obviously Masonic symbolism, especially with that ring. Well, that's what I think. And here, even when you go into his workbox, for his little nice little toolkit here, I mean, it's got the Masonic symbol right there. And then when he closes it, you'll see it again right there with the lock. Here he is approaching one of the other prostitutes, picking her up. I also thought it was interesting, and I think I took this shot for this reason too. He does also drive around with a green light. A green light and a black stagecoach. Again, the black and the green. Could that be possible male Saturn energy? Maybe, maybe not. He picks her up. I think she's kind of in a yellow dress. There you go. I don't know what colors you would consider that. Something I found interesting and I wanted to add, she also is asking, how much is he paying for this? He's already given her the grapes. She already figures he's rich. Wants to know, how much am I getting? 2 florin. I'll put those up on the screen. You can see what those look like. One's got the queen, then the other side. I mean, to me, that could be kind of like talisman type stuff. Or it could just be fancy art. That looks nice on that coin. And I do want to add, again, Janus would fall on Chokmah, which is the second sphere. He's paying her in 2 florin. 2. And what I was going to mention before about the movie that I said I'd get back to later on, the movie is also 2 hours and 2 minutes. A lot of 2s, in my opinion, a lot of Janus symbolism. So I think between both, there could be a hint of Janus in this movie. Or it could be wrong. Here we go. He's pulling out his stuff, getting ready to do the deal. Got some light there. Same light, I guess, because he was out in the streets, still reflecting onto his stuff. But I found this interesting, and this could really be totally coincidental. But, well, for one, you got a green haze again. There's a lot of green hazes around when he's doing his thing. But the street light color does kind of match what she was wearing. And if you do pay attention to, I've also wondered if the color of the clothes that these prostitutes are wearing are also representing spheres on the tree that he's killing. Maybe if you happen to watch this, check it out. See if that means anything to you.
The constable will show you the bit of leather they found down by the water spout. Could be part of a butcher's apron. Leather apron.
I wanted to include that. I just kind of found that interesting since Masons have aprons. They do mention that there could have been a butcher apron at this point. He does not believe that it's a butcher. The other cop, I think, wants to believe it's a butcher, but probably doesn't think it is either. So a leather apron. I'm sure he could have been wearing a butcher's apron, maybe because he didn't want to get his stuff dirty. But he does have, he does mention a leather apron. Could have been the Masonic leather apron. Maybe not. I just wanted to add that in there. And then here in this quick shot, again, pillars. We have archways on each side. Male, female, just like the tree. Male side, female side, pillars, archways. There's like another archway in the middle of these 2 archways. Just happened to notice this. Figured I'd throw it in for the archways. And another thing I wanted to throw in real quick that I found interesting too, and I mentioned this recently with somebody else when they said something about bars. Might be on the Occult Rejects Part 2 with Robbie Marks coming out. This will be out maybe around the same time or right beforehand. I don't know at the moment. Don't have the dates in front of me, but I think this might be out beforehand, or I could be completely wrong. It's not even the right episode. So it's 10 bells. In my opinion, that could be the Tree of Life. If you take Malkuth out of it, or have it depending how you're looking at it. My opinion, all those spheres on the top, above Earth, could all be the 10 bells. I don't know. But yeah, and the thing is too is that a lot of this, like, there's a lot of times that they meet up here, and then things happen or characters show up here. So I was just wondering, and like I mentioned before, all the different color outfits that they're wearing, 10 bells at the bar. Is it kind of like the Tree of Life in a sense? So I wanted to add that.
I shall tell you where we are. We are in the most extreme and utter region of the human mind. A radiant abyss where men meet themselves. Hell, Netley. We are in hell.
And there you go. That was Jack the Ripper telling his buddy that they're in hell. He even mentions Radiant Abyss. And, again, I think what he said there pretty much kind of, where men see themselves, again, Chokmah, where Janus, in my opinion, falls on. The experience with that sphere coming face to face with God. So is that kind of like a play off of that stuff, or am I just really grasping at all this? But I really don't think so. And now here we have next, this is just a Freemason thing that just, they're tossing in there. Yeah, I think it's quite obvious. You can see right there, he's got the apron on. He's got all the garbs on. Yeah, they are going into a Freemasonry thing. Then you have here, I didn't want to take too many clips out of the movie, but somebody, in my opinion, this is an initiation. This is inside. You can see the Freemason symbols on all these things. You got the checkered floor. You got the diamond stuff going on. Yeah, Freemasons. And I did check into this, and I will be getting more into it later on. What we're seeing here, and I find this very, I guess maybe it shouldn't be shocking. I don't know why I found it shocking. But from talking to Mark, the resident Mason that listens to the show, that if I ever have certain questions, I know I can go to him, and he will give me his best and honest answer. I had asked Mark about a few of the things in this movie after watching it, and this being shown, from what he has told me and from what it's showing you, and then later on there is stuff that Johnny Depp reads, and you can find this stuff on the internet. It's just the thing is, it's like, how do I know it's real? Because a couple of sites have it. So this stuff isn't actually as secretive as people think. This is the third degree, the Master Mason. The stuff that they're showing in the movie and that they'll be reading later on, from what I got out of speaking to my boy, is actually like pretty much on point. Like, it's not wrong. This is real stuff that happens with the third degree in the Freemasons. And right here, it's part of it. Now we see here another prostitute dead. Her throat was slit, and this was pretty much, I think, a quick kill. Just to mention also, the previous ones, they were having their throats cut and parts of their body removed, and their downstairs region removed as well. This one, I think, just had the neck slit. I think somebody was around. And then he went on to the next one, and he pretty much got her the same way. He just cut her neck. That's even something that I wanted to point out. That goes along with Binah. Silence. You cut their throat. They can't make any sound. Is that referring back to Binah? The virtue is silence. You're cutting their throats. You're silencing them. in the movie, he puts the Jews are the men that will not be blamed. And right here, Johnny Depp even starts noticing, even with the killings, that they're starting to form a pentagram. Here was something that I just wanted to catch, one of his notes up on the board. He's even drawing a pentagram and starting to realize something's up with the way the bodies are being laid out. Even that last one, I forgot to mention, I think the girl in the all black who had her neck slit, she was murdered in meter square or meter something. I mean, again, square, compass stuff. Jack the Ripper is a Mason. This movie is like really pushing it down your throat that this is all Masonic stuff going on, and these are ritual killings coming from a Mason. Pretty interesting, pretty wild. Right here, I'm going to show this stuff. Again, I don't know if this book is technically legit, but the stuff that this book is showing in the movie and telling, and that he's reading, according to Mark and according to other things that I have found on the internet, is actually all real stuff from the third degree. So we have Jubella, Jubello, and Jubellum. Those are the Jews, probably, that was written up on the wall. And those three are also known for killing Hiram Abiff, who's supposed to be like, the architect, or Freemasons. Hiram Abiff, those three supposedly killed them. You got Jubela, Jubelo, and then the other one, Jubellum. Jew. So basically what Johnny Depp was trying to get at is that he thinks that this is ritual killing. That thing written on the wall was going back to these three people, not Jews as Jews, and it wasn't spelt that way. He's researching this book, and he comes across these. And going forward, later on you see that Jack the Ripper was a Mason. They pretty much were like, yo, you're doing too much. You got to calm down. Johnny Depp was kind of getting on them too about it. They took the guy. They dealt with him. You'll have to watch the rest of the movie. I'm not going to get all into it. But they kind of handle it themselves. The guy won't be doing anything to anybody anymore. But, the Masons handled it on their own. So in this movie From Hell, they are depicting Jack the Ripper, 1888, the killings happened, crazy eights. We've seen a lot of crazy eights lately, or not too long ago. Again, I even think 8 goes back to the Prince Ode on the Tree of Life, which is a lower arc of Jupiter, which Jupiter is a lower arc of Janus. So we have 2, 4, and 8, which in my opinion are all just one is lower arc of the other one coming from 2. Or I guess technically from Kether. So I think, the 1888, Jack the Ripper, there's a lot of Janus symbolism in this, a lot of Freemason stuff. Very interesting to me. And I just find it interesting that a movie put out the idea that it was Jack the Ripper, that Jack the Ripper was a Freemason. It was ritualistic killings. Maybe there's a lot of people out there who've seen this movie a long time ago and totally forgot. Maybe there's people who haven't seen this movie. So there you go. Maybe check it out if that interests you. I thought it was interesting. And like I said, I do think there was a lot of other symbolism in this, in my opinion, from the life that I have led, from the studies that I have done, from the experiences that I have had. I believe that there is other symbolism in this besides the obvious. So that is my point of view on the movie From Hell. I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of the obvious Freemason symbols. I hope maybe you got something out of what I thought might have been a little bit out there and enjoyed it. Again, if this is your first time listening and you're actually still listening, thank you very much. Thank you for hitting that play button and giving me a shot. Hit that sub button. I'm sure that you will enjoy other new stuff that will be coming out and some of the guests that I have on. I really do think you will enjoy them. And if you are a returning listener, that is what's up. Again, thank you very much. No paywall, no commercials. Hit that share button and pass it on. That's all I ask for. I do think I will be covering another movie that Johnny Depp's in. You know, he's in some really great occult movies, in my opinion. So I might as well go for another one. And no, it's not the Pirates. I think I might be covering that instead of Peaks in another 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that one if you like this one. And yeah, that is the end of another NY Patriot. Again, if you are listening and you don't know, I do have video. I have BitChute. I have YouTube. Not everything can go on YouTube. So if you're listening and you do want to check out some stuff on video, I have BitChute, YouTube. BitChute will have more than YouTube does. I do have Rumble. I don't know if I'm really going to be messing with that. I get kind of iffy with that. Sometimes I upload, sometimes I don't. But I do have that as a backup as well in case other platforms get censored. And if you are somebody who strictly only knows of me from being on BitChute, Rumble, or YouTube, I do have podcasts. And even these shorts that I cover that I suggest to use visuals for, you can listen to in podcast form. So all the links for all of that is in the bottom. Check that out. And until the next one, everybody be well. Later.